Okay, so in this video I will go through the Storytel Reader again and see how good it is compared to my other ebook readers. And I will also see how good the syncing works between the mobile app on my iPhone, the Storytel app, with the Storytel Reader. And I will also see how good it works with seamless listening on audiobooks on my iPhone and sync that with the Storytel Reader so I can read on that an ebook version of the same book and sync that to the mobile app. The Storytel Reader then is a quite old designed ebook reader to me. The cover works quite good. It feels like a book when holding it. If you're holding it like this, you can also hold it like this, of course. But then it's a bit fiddly, I think. So I prefer holding it like this. But it has forward and backward buttons when you're reading. And it has a power on and standby button at the top. And it has an option button at the bottom. So if I turn it on now, we get into a book here. And if it has been synced to the mobile app on the phone, it will not show up any syncing here. But if I start reading here now, so let's say I click on the setting button first to hide everything, so you have the reading here. Now I want to read some pages by clicking forward, as you can see. I can also click backward, as you can see, forward again. Now, if I want to sync this with the mobile app on my phone, I actually need to physically sync the place where I am in the book by clicking on this button and choose sync, like so. Now it says bookmarks are updated. So now it has sent the syncing to my mobile app on the same account, the Storytel account on my phone with the Storytel Reader account, the same account. So let's jump into the mobile app now. Here is the Storytel app on my phone. So now when I open the same book like this, it should be on the same page as on the ebook reader. So let's see if that's true. And as you can see, it actually is. You see the text there is the same as there. So now it is synced perfectly fine between the Storytel Reader and the mobile app on my phone. So if we now go forward in this book and reading on the mobile app instead, as you can see, and then I want to sync this with the Storytel Reader, I have to do this. I have to mark the text like so. And maybe I will go back here. Now it should be synced to my Storytel Reader, eBook reader again. Let's see that. Now we will have a pop-up saying, do you want to sync to the latest position? Yes. And now it has jumped to the same page, same text on both my mobile phone and the ebook reader, as you can see here. That works great. But the drawback is that you actually need to hit that button every time you want to sync this, because otherwise it doesn't work. And I think that's a huge drawback with the Storytel Reader. And I think the syncing need to be better on this, but it hasn't been any better for many years now, so I don't think Storytel is working on that, sadly so. But this is an excellent way, syncing where you are in the different devices when reading an ebook. So if we now want to instead of reading, want to listen to the book, we just have to click on the listen button down here. So if I click on that, it jumps into the audiobook instead. As you see there, it jumped immediately into the audiobook. And here I can, for precaution, click on bookmarking, so I can bookmark the placement of the book in case you forgot syncing between the devices. As I said, it's easily to forget how to sync between the devices. So that's a huge drawback. But if you have a Storytel Reader, ebook reader, you can do like this, syncing between them, and you can easily jump between the ebook and the audiobook. Up here I can choose to read again, and now it jumps into the ebook again. So every time you want to sync, you have to click on the text so it will be marked like this. And in extra precaution, you can do this to sync it too. So now if I open it, it will be on that place on the Storytel Reader. So now if I open this, maybe I will get a new sync notification. I don't know. Yes, as you can see. So now if I click yes, it will hop to that place in the book. So that is how easy it is to jump between audiobook and ebook. So like doing this, it jumps into the audiobook again. And the app is a lot better nowadays. The Storytel app has been far better now than the BookBeat app, a competitor for the Storytel service. BookBeat in Sweden and Storytel in Sweden is a competitor between each other. And normally before, BookBeat app was much better than the Storytel app, but now the Storytel app is much better than BookBeat. So the Storytel app has got a lot of new features. You can easily choose which speed you want to listen. You can do which speed you want actually by just using this and so on. You have the colors matching the cover of the book, and a lot of new cool stuff. And when you lock the screen, you can do this and listen and see the book on the lock screen like this. Really cool. And the CarPlay app for the Storytel app is much better now, and the Apple Watch app is also a lot better now. So everything is better with the Storytel app nowadays. Much better than the BookBeat app. Much better. So I really love that. And this Storytel Reader is actually also made so you can listen to audiobooks. So if I want to listen to this same book instead of reading it on this Storytel Reader, then I just can click on the same thing here. Let's sync first, like so. If I click on the setting button again, now if I click here, it says that you need to download the audiobook first before you can listen to it on the Storytel Reader. So I can decide here to download or delete. Cancel. Download or cancel. So if I would want to listen to the Storytel Reader, I can do that. The same book I'm reading, I can listen to the same book as an audiobook, but then you need to otherwise have headphones with a cable or pair some kind of headphones using Bluetooth on this. But if you use Bluetooth, then the battery will drain quite fast on this Storytel Reader. So that's a drawback. If you want to use Bluetooth headphones, you can do, but as I said, the battery life is a lot worse. But if you use headphones with a cable, you can actually have the really great battery life while listening to audiobooks on the Storytel Reader too. And the syncing will work a lot better if you both listen and read on the same device by just switching between the audiobook and the ebook here. Much better. It will work a lot better by doing so. So you have the choice to only use the Storytel Reader to both listen to audiobooks and reading ebooks on. So you don't have to use an iPhone, but I prefer listen to the book on my iPhone using my AirPods with seamless pairing and so on an iPhone. I prefer doing that. Listen to the book on this and reading the ebook on the Storytel Reader. I usually listen on the book in my car using CarPlay. I usually listen to the book on my lunch break at work, and I also listen to the book in the evening in the sofa while my wife is watching some stuff on the TV I don't like, and then I listen to the same book on this iPhone instead. And I use this Storytel Reader for reading the book in bed before I go to sleep. I love reading instead of listening before I go to sleep, because then I can relax a bit more and so on. I don't have to have my AirPods in my ears, so I can read using the Storytel Reader at night before I go to bed. And I can also read in direct sunlight outside. I prefer reading on the Storytel Reader when I'm out in the sun. I prefer doing that. So I really love the Storytel Reader for what it is, but the syncing feature is terrible. And another thing that is terrible is that it doesn't have automatic light. I love that on my Kindle Paperwhite. I love that it has, the signature edition has automatic lighting and so on. You can't do that. You can turn on or off here, and you can decide which settings you should have for the warmth and the lightning. So you can turn on or off the lightning. It's the only thing you can do. And another thing I don't like with the ebook reading on this is these buttons is so sensitive. So I really often change the pages, turn the pages by mistake using these buttons, because I immediately when I take this I get to turn a page by mistake, so I don't like that. And if I hold the ebook reader in my left hand, I want to turn the page by using this button. So to be able to do that, I need to click this button and click here to do inverted buttons, and click again to hide. Now I can use this button instead to turn the pages, but after a while I maybe want to use the right hand instead. Then I need to click here again and click normal page turning again to use it by this button. So that is a bit annoying too, actually. Of course you can click on the screen itself if you want. You can't swipe though, and that is one thing I miss from my Kindle Paperwhite. I love swiping back and forward on the screen to turn the pages, but I can't do that on the Storytel Reader. I can do that on the Kindle Paperwhite. I can also do that on the Kobo Clara 2E, and I can also do that on the Kobo Libra H2O. So these are my different ebook readers nowadays, and the Storytel Reader uses an account. You need a subscription to get a lot of books, over 1 million of books I think it is. So you have a lot of books to choose from. That's really nice. So a Storytel Reader syncing with the iPhone needs a subscription to Storytel, but then you get a lot of audiobooks and a lot of ebooks in syncing between all your devices. So that's a huge plus for the Storytel Reader, that you have all the books in the whole world available for you to read and listen to on the Storytel Reader. That is the huge plus that makes this Storytel Reader worth having actually. It's worth having an account to Storytel to be able to read and listen to your books on both the Storytel Reader and on your iPhone and iPad, for example. Not all books though have both an ebook and an audiobook version available for the book, and that's a bit sad. Usually it's often is English, US or UK books that doesn't have both, as you know what I mean. So you either have an ebook or an audiobook of an US or UK book. Some of the US and UK English books that has been translated to Swedish will have both an ebook and an audiobook, but not all. But almost all Swedish books, I am a Swedish man, so I read in Swedish. Almost all Swedish books has both an audiobook and an ebook that you can sync between when listening and reading, and that's awesome. That's the biggest plus for the Storytel Reader compared to Kindle Paperwhite or Kobo Libra H2O and the Kobo Clara 2E. So nowadays I usually use the Kindle Paperwhite for all my readings of ebooks that the Storytel account doesn't have. So I read books on my Kindle Paperwhite that the Storytel account doesn't have. And I usually use my iPhone to listen to the books, and I use the Storytel Reader to read all the books, and I prefer reading in Swedish at the moment, so I use the Storytel Reader more than I use the Kindle Paperwhite at the moment. The Kobo Clara 2E is almost never used by me, sadly though. I bought it at the same time as the Kindle Paperwhite, almost the same time. And I never use this because I think the Kindle Paperwhite is much better device for everything. You can sideload everything you want to read. It's a much better build quality, much faster, and so on. This is very plastic and very slow actually to turn pages and do highlighting and notes and everything. It's very slow for that. The Kindle Paperwhite is like an iPhone compared to an Android actually. The Kindle Paperwhite is so good, so perfect build quality, so perfect everything actually. The Kobo Libra H2O I only have for co-reader actually. I love to experiment with the co-reader software, so I have that installed on my Kobo Libra H2O to do some testings and experiments and so on. I usually never use it for reading though. As I said, I use the Kindle Paperwhite for everything that's not in the Storytel account. and the Storytel I use for listening to audiobooks and syncing with the eBooks with my iPhone and iPad. That is how I do it now, but I must say that the eBook reader, the Storytel Reader, is not a good build quality. It's quite slow. It doesn't have any features. You can't do highlights. You can't do notes. You can't do anything actually with this. But still, I think it's worth it, because with those cases that I need to read instead of listening, I prefer doing that on the Storytel Reader instead of reading on my phone, for example. So I still think that this is worth the money. If you can get over the quite bad build quality of this, and also with the syncing problems that you need to remember to sync every time you switch between the devices, then I think actually this can be worth it. So I think the Storytel Reader is still worth it, but I think that Storytel needs to release an updated hardware eBook reader soon, because this is a bit slow and not so good build quality. So hopefully Storytel will release a better version of the Storytel Reader soon. I'm not sure I will buy it though, but hopefully new Storytel user can think it's worth buying if you upgrade the hardware for this Storytel Reader. But that is how I read mostly now. I use the Storytel account for reading Swedish books, and I use the Kindle Paperwhite to read English books usually. So that is how I do this. Okay, bye.